Hello, hello, hello. This is Sambuca, aka Mama Sam. I'm trying to get my camera in a good spot here. And I am doing this message off the cuff. Today I am speaking about when the Most High gives you, as a chosen one, a message that is heavy. And He gives us heavy messages quite frequently. And sometimes you have to deliver them, and other people don't want to hear the message. A lot of times, people don't want to hear the message. But because of what's happening right now, I am determined to come on every time the Most High downloads something into my spirit to speak. So I have a funny kind of accent. I was originally born on the Twin Islands of Trinidad and Tobago, and I have lived in the Frozen for a good bit of my life, otherwise known as Canada, and I've also lived in Africa for a while. Now, it's only really, I've always had this gift of knowing stuff, but I never really would talk about it. And it's only after my healing in the last little while that I have really honed in on this gift, especially while I was in Tobago. So I knew I wanted to live in Africa. I went back to the Caribbean so that I could get accustomed to being around our people, because our people are our people. Our people are special. And of course, that's where I picked back up the accent and all of that, because you need to survive. If I'm in Trinidad, they would say, were you from away? And if I'm in Canada, my friends are like, oh my gosh, you sound like you're from, like, you just landed. There's no happy medium, no matter where I am. But I choose to keep as much of the accent as I can. Anyways, it was while I was in Tobago that I started really experiencing the Most High on a different level. My spiritual life was really heightened, and I started seeing stuff. Actually, it was before that. While I was in Trinidad, I started getting it. But when I got to Tobago, it really heightened. It was while I was in Tobago, and I'm saying this because of what's going on with the United States and the Caribbean right now. I knew that I wanted to go to Africa. And while I was in Tobago, the Most High gave me this message for the spiritual group that I was in. And it was a heavy message, and I wrestled with it for a long time. I didn't want to give it. I didn't want to tell anybody, and ting, ting, ting. And that's Trinidadian for etc., by the way. But eventually I gave it. And I can remember where I was distinctly. The Most High put me in a place called Hope. And He put me there so that I would remember when I was in a dark place, and I was in a dark place for a long time, that I was living in hope, right? I was sitting behind the community center. There's a community center and a beautiful space that they built for you to walk a track. And I was sitting there just kind of like how I'm sitting now, with my phone, being eaten by ants and telling people what the Most High told me to say. And at the time, all He could tell me to say was, get out, get out, get out. It's time to leave. Get out, get out, get out. People didn't want to hear what I had to say. Soon after that, a couple of weeks later, I went to Trinidad to start buying stuff because I was planning to go to Africa. And while I was in a boutique, some Russian soldiers passed by the mall in a hallway. And I was just like, what are these soldiers doing here in full uniform? And I was just like, what? And the attendant happened to have dated a Russian. And she says, they've been all over Trinidad. People keep seeing them. And they're walking in full uniform. And I was like, nobody is saying anything. Like, Trinidad, they love to party. So nobody is like, okay, why are Russian soldiers on our island? So then she told me about the fact that she dated a Russian years prior and how just a couple of months before this incident that I'm talking about, where I'm talking to her, he called her and said to her, and I've only said this once on another platform in a comment. He said to her, make sure you have your passport on you at all times. Make sure it's up to date. Make sure your passport is on you at all times so that when I extricate you, you will be fine. Actually, he said, if I need to extricate you, you will have everything you need. Carry your passport on you at all times. So that was 2. And I was just like, this is very bizarre. Why she would be telling me this? Mind you, I had seen the soldiers, so she told me this. Backtrack. Even before I saw the soldiers and told the people, get out, get out, people were saying that they kept seeing Russian ships off the coasts. And this is in Tobago. Where it's way past, like farther north to Trinidad. And Trinidad is like 5 to 8 kilometers off the coast of Venezuela. So this was in Tobago. People were seeing these Russian ships off the coast. So let's get back to the story. I leave her, and then I now take the stuff that I got. I'm going back to Tobago to pack and all of that. As I get off the boat, because I took a boat back, the taxi driver had about four people altogether, him and 3 others. So it was me, another woman, and a man in the front. Oh no, I was in the front because of my leg. So there were 4 of us in the taxi, and I remember exactly where we were when he said this. The same weekend as I was with this woman. Trinidad going to be invaded, you know. Trinidad is going to be invaded. This is a taxi driver talking. Trinidad is going to be invaded. If Trinidad doesn't watch itself, Trinidad is going to be invaded, mark my words. And I was just like, why would this man just say this randomly? The same weekend, like the next day, from getting the clothing that I bought from this woman, this taxi driver said the same thing to me. So I passed on the information to the one person that I really, really was close with in the group. And that was 3. A few months later, I left for Africa. And the same dress that I bought from this lady in Trinidad, I wore as I touched the Indian Ocean, the African Ocean, really. That was 2021. And nothing happened from 2021 until now. And recently, the Cheeto Man sent a drone on to a ship that looked like it was coming from Venezuela and killed two of my countrymen. So now it's personal. We know it's oil that he's after. We know that it's oil that he's after. None of the Caribbean islands have any what's it in their mind, but we know he's after the oil. But it's personal now. And I don't believe there's any American media outlet that's really covering it. In the Caribbean, it's causing a kerfuffle. Grenada is protesting, everybody is protesting because nobody wants the Cheeto Man in their country. I don't know what to say at this point in time. It was very difficult for me the last while knowing what people are after, talking about the Cheeto Man, and that he is the narcissist of narcissists. So, if a chosen one is telling you something and it doesn't sit well with you at this particular moment in time or whatever, ask the Most High what you need to do. I'm the only one that got out. I don't know how flights are operating right now. I didn't research that before I came here. I just know that the Caribbean is, they're tiny little islands, right? How can they defend themselves? It's not like, even though Trinidad has an army, like Venezuelans were coming on the island and wreaking havoc with Trinidad's Coast Guard. They couldn't even keep up because Trinidad is a tiny island. Venezuelans know, like, there's an inlet there, there's an inlet there. They were just coming in like willy-nilly and overrunning the island. Trinidad doesn't, how can you defend yourself against something so massive? At this point in time, I can never remember which Chronicles it is, but what King Solomon said is time for Trinidad to get to that stage where he said, if my people who are called by my name, and he was saying this as he built the temple, if my people who are called by my name shall humble themselves, turn from their wicked ways. That means all those skimpy dresses and carnival and all that and saying it's culture, it's wicked. The music is what the Most High created. But the words that people are putting to that music, he didn't create you to do that. As much as I'm a Trini, I know. Turn from their wicked ways. Turn back to the Most High. Jamaicans had it right calling him Jah. Yah. Turn back to Yah. Then the Most High will hear and heal their land. But that's not the land that we're supposed to be in. We're supposed to be in Africa. Some people already got the idea. It's not going to be easy being on those islands. We're supposed to have left. I warned whoever I warned. I'm putting this message up anyways. I don't know if anyone will watch. My videos are getting very few views anyhow, and I'm still going to keep putting what the Most High told me to put out. So, like Jonah, sometimes you get given a message, and it's not a message you want to put out, but it's a message you have to put out. I have another message to email someone and it's a couple, tell them the Most High has given me this message to pass to you. I don't want to do it. But it's things that we've been given and we have to do it or else we'll face the consequences. I did my warning. And if you're in Trinidad and Tobago, get out. I want to go back home and do different things, and I've been wrestling. The Most High has put the cog in my wheels so that I cannot go back home, and there's a reason. So I doubt that a Trini will see this, but for those who are in America, prepare. If you can't get to the motherland, prepare, because it's not going to be good. This is Sambukaike, Mama Sam. Like I said, this was more somber than I wanted it to be, but I had to get out what the Most High put on my heart. Until next time, Salembe, which means peace, by the way.